the informed investor. Thanks to Century 21 agents, defying mediocrity and delivering extraordinary experiences.
9 minutes to 10 on this Monday night. Warren McCarthy is the CEO of Century 21, joins us each Monday to review what's happened on the markets. What a weekend it's been. Warren, good evening to you.
Good evening, John. It has been again. The marketplace is certainly delivering once again. Sydney 78.9% in its auction clearances, and that was for 584 auctions. Interesting, though, last year they had 664, so it is a tad down from what it was last year. At Melbourne, 76.1, it was close, 790 auctions, and last year 805, so that's starting to meet parity. Brisbane's come back a bit, John. It was 45.8% clearance. Last week, you might remember, it was over 60. And its auction numbers are around about par with last year. So it's interesting to see the market starting to build in a bit of stock level there.
And
Adelaide was up.
Yeah, interesting because you've got, of course, very, very low interest rates, spring coming up. And I'm assuming with this suggestion today that you've had house prices up significantly in both Sydney and Melbourne, particularly in Sydney, though, that might mean people who want to sell might decide, all right, I'll get in, or people who are thinking of buying might think, well, there's a bit of an upswing on the way. So you may see really something happening in the next few weeks.
I think so. You know, spring is traditionally a good period of the year where everyone starts to get active. And I did notice our friends from CoreLogic mentioned that in the month of August, Sydney had a lift of 1.5% in its values.
Just in the month?
Now, that's just in the month. And to bring that into perspective, the last 3 months, the value's only climbed 1.6%. So all of a sudden you're seeing almost a doubling of what the value rise was of the previous quarter. And the same or similar occurred in Melbourne, where they had an increase of 1.3% in August and a 1.6% growth in the last 3 months. So it's very interesting. The statistics are starting to shine through that the market is on the move, and spring will be the period in which it'll show itself.
So two contradictions with the unit market, because we know there have been dramas over the construction of some unit blocks. So you've had, in Sydney and Melbourne, you've had the values of units go up.
Yes, well, again, demand supply plays a big part. I know there's been a lot of discussion, a lot of headlines around the viability of getting into apartment dwellings, given some of the cladding issues and some of the building issues we've seen in Sydney particularly. But look, again, people do this out of lifestyle. They want to be close to infrastructure, to transport, to schools and the like. Yeah. And they're, in a lot of cases, not prepared to have the time soak on a maintenance thing that's called a backyard or a garden.
And sitting in traffic. You put that together. And so that's why. So the values of the units in Sydney and Melbourne are up, but you've had an instance where a very expensive place, someone's pulled out of a contract.
Yeah, I saw that, quite an expensive apartment there. And, one of the best bits of advice, I think, that came out of that, and I did note that the Victorian government has committed, $600 million to address the flammable cladding issues with what was hundreds of buildings that they tallied. And I think it came out of also the Four Corners episode recently. But the key here was that they asked for an extended defect warranty period from the developers. And I think that is key, that if you've got a concern, you're going into a purchase, you're not sure, you need to get some more information to make the valid judgment of whether to proceed or not, will extend the warranty period so that you can find out what that information needs to be for you to complete. I think that was valuable advice.
I think it was very, very good advice. All right, so but it does make sense why people are looking at markets where you can be closer to the city, don't have that travel, don't have the backyard. That does make sense. All right, so spring, I think the next few weeks are going to tell us a lot about where the market is going, I'm sure.
More release.
Particularly with spring. So what do you get an idea of what might be there in terms of the pent-up demand, or do people just turn up and they make decisions suddenly and in they go?
The clearance rates are certainly one indicator. But the other indicator that I notice is what new listings are coming into the marketplace. And whilst that's been down in the last few months that we've been speaking, it's slowly but gradually reducing. And I've noticed of late that the 12-month change in that particular area of new listings coming to market is only 17% down on the year before. Now, it was 27 to 35% down only a few months ago. So that's improving out of sight. Our friends at my company, Century 21, are finding that we're outperforming that particular statistic greatly. In June and July, we saw a great lot of listings come to market, and I think that augurs well from where we're looking at things as where this market's headed. Sure. I think it's on the improve.
Okay, Warren, as always, great to talk to you. Let's see what news next week brings. Thank you for your time tonight.
Thank you, John.
Warren McCarthy there from Century 21 after what looks like it's been a pretty good market over the weekend in real estate.